And so like, how do we have a conversation that's nuanced around that, which doesn't pit victims who have, there's no zero sum to victimhood. Everyone has gone through trauma. Like when you're an innocent person wrongly accused and you're an innocent person who gets raped or abused, like these are traumatic things and everyone's trauma should not be diminished. Like, how do we hold those things together, and how do we come together to like mutually recognize each other's victimhood and a path forward that protects everyone? I think that for me was a really interesting moment. And I found myself sort of like brought into the conversation as both an indirect victim of crime and a direct victim of the criminal justice system. I'm an indirect victim of crime because a man broke into my house and murdered my roommate. And I had to come home and call the police. Like, that was me. I was an indirect victim of this man's crime. And I'm not, anti, like a lot of people think I might be anti, criminal justice and anti-law enforcement. I'm not. I'm those the first who called the police. The problem was that in that particular situation, my faith and trust in the police was betrayed. Do I think that that happens in every situation? No. Do I think that there are ways that we can better protect innocent people from, some kind of like overreach of law enforcement? Yes. Do I also think that law enforcement can better protect victims and indirect victims of crime? Yes.
Yeah.
Let's have a nuanced conversation,
Right. I mean, that's sort of where my head was going, is just I don't know if you have thoughts on it or have heard from others of how do we have these more contextualized conversations? How do we have these more nuanced conversations? And so, like, I hear you saying those things and I agree 1,000%. And then there's another part of me that's like, how the fuck does that happen?
Yeah, of course. And I think that, okay, so let's get into some potential like ideas. I think that one thing that law enforcement should give up is right now there's a lot of things that happen behind closed doors, and a lot of things that they both do and decide to do behind closed doors are not fully transparent about their methods or their means. And I think that that's it's important for all of us to have trust in the system, for us to have access to what is happening behind closed doors, both for the sake of the victims of crime and potential victims of criminal justice. I think that one of the things that law enforcement should spend more time doing is being trauma informed, understanding psychology. I think there's a lack of training in regards to understanding trauma and how people respond to trauma, both as victims and also as, potential perpetrators. Like people looked at me, for instance, and my trauma response and assumed guilt.